The football season's back, and Manchester United's first up on the Premier League games. Manchester United taking on Fulham Old Trafford. Now, this is a decent game for Manchester United to start the season. I mean, Fulham weren't too bad at times last season. They did beat Manchester United 2-1 at Old Trafford last season, when Manchester United were absolutely horrendous. But it could have been worse start for Manchester United starting with this game, because it is at Old Trafford. Now, our home form wasn't too clever last season at Old Trafford, but still, a game at Old Trafford is what you want to start the season with Manchester United, considering I still believe that Manchester United have got a lot of problems and issues to deal with going into this season, but some of them may be able to be rectified with players coming back from injury, new players coming in over the next few weeks. I haven't been overly positive going into this. I don't think the pre-season preparations were great. I know there was problems with obviously players away on international duty, but every club seemed to have that. We've had players get injured, and the signings, I'm not 100% convinced, but at least we've made a number of signings this time around, and for a relatively decent price. But I think the transfer market prices have come down a bit, so that does help there. But Manchester United going into this game, are we fully prepared? I'm not too sure. But you're looking at the likes of Man City, they're not completely prepared for the season. They had a number of players missing for the Community Shield, so it'd be interesting to see how all sorts of teams line up. And that game, they've got a much harder game. Chelsea and Man City is a big one. At least we didn't get one of them two teams the opening game of the season. But saying that, this isn't an easy game. It still isn't a sort of game that I think the Manchester United are going to comfortably win, not at all. I think they will give us a stern test, but being at Old Trafford, you would expect Manchester United to be slight favourites going into this game. Now, obviously, they've signed Smith Rowe from Arsenal. He did score a couple of goals in their pre-season. I think if he can stay fit, then he is a really decent signing for Fulham. I really do think that. He scored a number of goals for Arsenal over the time, wasn't always a regular due to his injury problems, but if he can overcome that, I do think that there's a player in there. So he is a player that Manchester United have really got to watch out for. Obviously, we know about Andreas Pereira. He'll probably start in the midfield there. They've got Iwobi as well, so they've got a number of players that can cause Manchester United problems, and we have struggled to beat these sort of sides over the last 8 to 10 months or so under Erik ten Hag. Now, Manchester United have obviously got a lot of we've got a lot of problems ourselves, knowing what sort of team to put out. Obviously, Onana's going to be in goal, but the left back position is probably going to be Mazraoui goes in at left back and Delo stays at right back. Maybe, I'm not too sure. It'll be one of them two ways round, because he's not going to go with Amas. Definitely not. He even brought Palestra off the bench in the Community Shield, which I thought was baffling. Ahead of Amas. Amas wasn't even on the substitutes in that game. I can understand a bit why Alessandro Martinez started at the left back position, because he wanted to give him game time for that before this first game of the season, but bringing Palestra on and putting him at right back and switching Delo to left back, I thought was baffling, because I don't see a future for, certainly not the full back for Palestra, but I don't see a future for Palestra at Manchester United, to be honest. I think he's too far down the pecking order. We're giving him game time when he's probably going to get sold, so I thought that was a bit baffling. But it will be Mazraoui on one side and Delo on the other side. And then it's going to be De Ligt and Martinez at centre back. I would gather. I can't really see him picking Johnny Evans at centre back ahead of De Ligt, unless they're not quite match ready to play. But I think they will start this game. To be honest, midfield is a key for Manchester United. But it is, what is he going to go for? I think he's probably going to go similar to what he went with before. Mainu, Casemiro and Mount in there. Mount didn't have a very good game against Man City in the Community Shield. I'm not convinced where he's going to fit into this team when Manchester United, Zirkzee, Højlund back up and running. I don't really see where it's going to fit in, because he's going to bring Bruno Fernandes deeper when he does. I think Bruno Fernandes will start in that false 9 position, and I think it's going to be Rashford and probably on the left and Garnacho on the right hand side. Now, Ahmad, I mean, what's going to happen with Ahmad? Ahmad was decent in pre-season. Will Ahmad start this? I don't think he's going to start this game. I think that cameo off the bench from Garnacho has probably just shaded him starting this game. Now, Rashford, I don't think deserves to start this game. Yes, he got in some decent positions in that Community Shield. and squandered 2 really good chances in that game. But I don't think Rashford deserves to start, but I think that Garnacho seems to be playing better on the right hand side, and you're not going to put Ahmed on the, I mean, if you bring Ahmed in, you're going to have to put Garnacho on the left hand side, and I don't think he's going to do that. I mean, he might, but I don't see him doing that, which is going to obviously probably leave Ahmed out. But Garnacho has started to improve as a Manchester United player, and it is a massive season for Garnacho. Manchester United don't have a player that's reliable to score goals in the Manchester United team. I'm not too bothered who gets the goals as long as Manchester United win games of football. You don't have to have a player that's going to get 25, 30 league goals to win the Premier League. Man City, a couple of seasons, was it 2 or 3 seasons ago, before they signed Erling Haaland, didn't really have an out-and-out striker. They were using Gabriel Jesus and Foden and people like that. I mean, Foden was pretty much in the false 9 and players like that. And you can definitely still win the Premier League like that. But obviously your wide players have got to chip in with a lot of goals. Bruno Fernandes will have to chip in with his fair share. And I think this season Garnacho's going to have to probably chip in with probably at least 12 league goals for if Manchester United to take that next step up and at least get back into that Champions League places. And I think Rashford is going to have to get about 12-15 goals. If them two in the wide areas can get 12-15 goals, maybe Ahmad chips in with 5-10 goals, then that's good, and you get Bruno chipping in with maybe 10 league goals, 15 maybe if he takes a lot of penalties, and you're looking better. But if you've got only maybe 1 or 2 that's getting maybe, I think last season Højlund was the only one that, I think he got about 10 league goals, and I think Garnacho was probably, so I don't know who was next in terms of that. I don't know how many Bruno got, but I know Garnacho only got about 7, so they've got to improve that by sort of, each player's got to up their goals by at least about 5 to 7 or 8 goals, and then Manchester United could probably steer up the league. I mean, obviously that midfield is a massive problem. There was gaping holes last season. Hopefully that is a bit more secure. Obviously Casemiro was a lot better, has been a lot better in that game against Man City in the Community Shield, but can he keep that up on a regular basis? I'm not too sure. I think his legs have gone. I think another midfielder will come in, and I think probably another fullback, probably a fullback that can play left back will come in as well for Manchester United to cover that Luke Shaw injury at left back, because you just cannot rely on him. Lassia, we don't know, but the midfield, I would expect another man to come in there just to play in that defensive midfield role, because then you could probably rotate a bit in the cup competitions as well. You won't have to play Casemiro every week. He'll probably play more in some League Cup games, some Europa League, and maybe some Premier League games as well, but won't have to play week in, week out, which I think if he plays 20-25 games this season, that could be good for Casemiro still, because it doesn't look like he's leaving. There's more talk of Eriksen and obviously McTominay leaving, but I wouldn't get rid of both of them because we are a bit thin on the ground in that midfield area. I personally would prefer to keep McTominay because he does chip in with some goals, but obviously if Manchester United are a better side this season, we're not going to need, where Manchester United should be evolving to, we're not going to need a Scott McTominay to keep coming off the bench and saving Manchester United from the shit. Anyway, let me know your thoughts going into this game. How do you see it going? I think Manchester United might just scrape this game, maybe 2-1. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you're watching on Facebook, please do hit the share button, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya.